Hi, good morning. This is Cindy Coutts for this week's Paper Craft Crew Card Sketch Challenge 170, and this is for our mid-week inspiration. We have a great sketch to work with this week, so let's go ahead and get started. Excuse me for the background noise, because I'm also going to welcome you to my neighbor who's been building a shed in his backyard for about 8 days now, from sunup to sundown, and this is the quietest I've ever heard it yet. So I'm not doing a Christmas card. I already have Christmas card burnout. We're going to do this really cool fall card, and I've got 3 stamp sets out here. Our main one's going to be Lighthearted Leaves with the coordinating framelits, watercolor wash, and then we're going to be using Gorgeous Grunge. Our main colors are going to be Early Espresso and Mint Macaroon, what? I'm not sure how they pronounce that. I'll have to look at the Spanish version of it. Because I'm in California, I kind of understand it good. So, to get started, I have an Early Espresso card base here. You get your cardstock of 8.5 by 11. I just cut this in half at 5.5, flipped it, scored it at 4.25, and I've said this a million times. You can see where your score line goes down from your score buddy, and then you just kind of want to fold it back on itself. You get a really good straight crease that way, and no cracks at the top, which we all know is like really, that's not very attractive at all. So before we build this up, this is how it's going to look. Let's go ahead and get our top layer done here real quick. If you look at the sketch, we have this huge background right there, and that is where this really cool watercolor wash stamp comes in. I'm going to go ahead and peel off the back of this because it's slippery and I don't want it to move around. And then the easiest way to do this is figure out exactly which direction you want it to go into, and then get it down. I'm going to go ahead and ink this up with, I'm going to go a little bit crumb cake on this, and I'll tell you why. I don't want to get into overkill of the other 2 colors, because they're both pretty strong, believe it or not. So I just kind of want something on the lighter side, and I like to turn my stamp like this upside down when I'm doing a really big image. And then of course I don't have a big piece of paper next to me. And my crumb cake, and see that line right there? You kind of want to avoid that a little bit. My crumb cake pads are kind of on the dry side, which I'm really good with, to be honest with you. Because that way it's not too strong. I just need a little something in that background there. So I'm going to go ahead and grab my white cardstock, see which side it looks prettier on, and then I am going to lay that down just like that. And then grab a piece of paper and just rub that ink in there. I'll grab my little pokey tool to pull it off, and there we go. I'm going to let this dry for a minute. Find a place on my desk that isn't all the way destroyed. What I have done for the little banner part, and that's something I wanted to show you. I went ahead and used the wood grain embossing folder with our banners framelits dies, and I used the third one in for this size banner, and then the baby one right there for this size. Now what I wanted to show you is that our embossing folders are so insanely crazy, deeply etched. I mean, this is copy paper, and I mean, look at that, it tore it up because that's how deeply etched it is. And so I just folded that in half and then slip that in between, because as you can see, it's ripping my paper right there. So when you use our embossing folders, and this is doubled up copy paper too, I really highly suggest using that because I still have a really deep etch there. So that's just a little hint. This little fella here, I love this cardstock. It was cut from our pretty 6x6 Pretty Petals Designer Series stack, and I want to show you that. I think that is just so gorgeous, and it's my color, so it worked out very well. Like I said, I'm going to go ahead and let that dry, set all this aside, and let's go ahead and start working on our panel. I have a piece of very vanilla cardstock here. Not our panel, but let's just go ahead and get our images stamped. I am going to, again, grab our Lighthearted leaves and figure out which leaf I want to use. So I'm just kind of doing like a little bit of a mock setup here. And I'm going to go for this big one. I'll tell you why. Because it covers up a lot of that banner, which is what I want to kind of drown the brown. Okay, well that came out real good, didn't it? So I'm going to stick it on our monster block here. But the first thing I want to do before I even get that down is I want to grab my embossing buddy. The mint macaroon color is on the light side, not too light, but it's a little bit on the lighter side. And since our inks are water-based, you can go ahead and emboss them, which I think is pretty cool. And it'll give me a raised image and really shine it up. When I do that, I use clear powder too. But you can use any color powder you want, even sparkle it up if you want to. So I'm going to grab back in my little mat. I highly recommend using one of these when you're using photopolymer stamps. Clear stamps, same thing. Everybody calls them something different. And I'm just going to, and you can see me put down the color. Get her nice and inked up. And then give her a really good impression. I'm going to do it over on this side just in case I mess up. I can zoom in a little bit. And I can do it again. These bigger ones, you really got to like throw some muscle down there just so it stamps. Oh, I hate it when that happens. The stamp bounce. Alright, no damage. I'm feeling pretty good about this now. And I got a great impression, as you can see. So I'm going to close up my ink pad super fast, so I don't want that drying out. I'm going to go ahead and grab my clear powder, move my mat. That thing's a drag to clean up when you have embossing powder on it. Get my spoon going here. I could probably just dump this whole thing in there. Give that a light tap. And I don't have to worry about embossing powder where I don't want it, because it is going to be die cut out, and I don't see anything floating around that I don't want to see. So I'm going to move my entire tub of powder over to like a really unstable tilted place, which means I'm going to move it now, to be honest with you. There, the floor is the perfect place. I'm going to go ahead and get this heat embossed, so you don't have to deal with the noise or anything like that, and we've all seen heat embossing before. I was heat embossing this image here. I just went ahead and gave this one a quick blast of air to make sure that it was dry, because we're going to be adding additional color to that. So to get this cut out, real simple, just go ahead and grab your coordinating leaflets, framelets. And I'm just going to pull off this bugger here. And what I like to do is, this stuff is great, is this Scotch matte finish removable tape. It holds things down great. You can reuse it. Sometimes with, I forgot what that stuff is called. It's by Post-it, I think. Sometimes with that, depending on the quality of your cardstock, it will go ahead and pull your paper up, and I'm avoiding that. And this is so inexpensive too. I can get this entire roll here for like $1.99, and it goes a long way. So I have this great leaf now, this embossed and with some good texture with the raised edges, and it really shines it up too. So I'm just going to put a piece of tape up there at the top. Stick another one down here at the bottom. With something like this, I always use my magnetic platform, but they say there's like 40 magnets inside. Okay, that's cool, that's awesome. But sometimes your die cut just gets wonky on there for some reason, so I'm okay with that, but I still use this. It just depends on what you're die cutting, to be honest with you. So I've got my magnetic platform down here and a cutting plate, and I'm just going to pop the other one on top and crank that on through. What I do most of the time, honestly, is I have my extended plate out, and that way I can fit a ton of things onto my Big Shot and just do all of my die cutting at one time. All this isn't going to fit on my desk right now or in the frame of the video, so I just did it this way. And look how easy that comes off. If you have wet ink and it gets on there, which has happened to me before, toss it, because it will show up on your project. And sometimes you'll get it to tear like that, but that's okay. I really gotta quit talking so much. So we're gonna pop this baby right out, and we have a gorgeous leaf there. And I don't know if you can see the shine, because in my clear embossing powder I mixed in just a teeny tiny bit of Dazzling Diamonds, and that still adheres. It's okay, it's going to work. Anytime I do embossing, what I like to do is I don't like to put adhesive, the tape runner, on the back. It squishes your lines. So I would recommend the tear and tape, or any kind of tape that you have like this, to put it on the back. We're going to get all that set aside and start piling up this card just a little bit. So on the sketch, you can see we've got some blobs. I'm going to go ahead and get those in, but I want to get this positioned first. And I'm going to go ahead and use Early Espresso for the blobs. I should probably zoom out a little bit, because I'm not paying too much attention right now. And this is where we grab the Gorgeous Grunge, and I'm just going to use, you know what, I'm going to do my usual play, a little hard and a little fast. Instead of doing these two blobs right here, because since I am going to have my sentiment in the early espresso as well, I'm just going to go ahead and use this stamp right here. It's less color. And that's pretty much what I need. That way you can just kind of position it to where you can see the most amount of ink, but again, I'm not going to have that overkill. So I have my early espresso ink pad here, and then just, and you can stamp off too if you want, but since this stamp isn't dense, then I'm just going to go for it. So right about there looks good, I hope. Just get that like a little quick press. Perfect. And then you are done with that. I think that turned out great. That's exactly what I wanted to see. So once again, I'm going to go ahead and grab my embossing buddy. Once again, I'm going to remove the mat because again, it's a little bit on the messy side. I'm going to pull that back in. We're going to find ourselves a really cool sentiment. And I already know what I want to put down here. Make sure that you can see. I'm going to go ahead and grab this Believe sentiment from the Lighthearted Leaves. And then just go ahead and pop it down at the middle or at the bottom. Okay, that looks good enough to me. So I'm just going to pick this up with a block. Once again, grab my early espresso ink. And I have my clear embossing powder next to me. And then we'll get some more texture out of this too. And I just let the ink sit in there for a minute. It doesn't hurt anything. Nice. Okay, I have it embossed. Looks very pretty. Here comes Bella to greet us, yawning and stretching her way through. I am going to go ahead and put some really, I like using this adhesive, the Be Creative or Score Pal tape. There's a bazillion names for it. Because since he set this a few times, it's kind of warpy on me. So I want a really strong adhesive. To get this straight. And anytime that you use this type of adhesive, I really recommend having some non-stick scissors. These are Fiskars, titanium non-stick, and they're great. And you really don't have to clean them very often. I'm trying to get in the habit of cleaning everything like once a week, because I make such a mess all the time. Okay, that's close enough for me. And I'm just going to get that down. Now our dimensions going to come on the card is going to be with our banner and our leaf. So we're going to go ahead and grab, of course you want to play, and I had to close this, oh wow, sorry, I had to close this in my clear embossing powder. It was on the floor and Guess who just stepped in it? Oh man. Gone ahead and loaded this up with that tape. We all know I do adhesive overkill. And maybe I'm feeling bold enough to do a voiceover this morning so I can like set the speed of this 3 times faster. I'll do a practice video. Okay, this is cut down 1/8 of an inch smaller than the standard A2 size to 4 1/8 by 5 3/8. Okay, we've got that down. I went ahead and put some adhesive on the back of our very vanilla panel. I think this is a great color combination. Make sure that my card's on straight. And once again, this is cut down 1/8 of an inch, which means it's going to be 5 1/4 by 4. There we go. Have some nice layers going on there. Going to go ahead and get our little banner on. Just pull the tape off of that carefully. And if you don't want to do this too, you can put this on, or put the tape on the back. You can put your cardstock here, pencil line around it, and then just put regular adhesive there. Bella down. She doesn't like loud noises. And with all the drilling and the hammering and everything else, I don't blame her. I'm going to go ahead and stick this right there. And the sketch has it going to, I think I'm okay. So just get that like a really super light. Fold down, and this is where I completely blew it because I forgot to sneak this in up there, and I just ripped that too, even using the wow, that copy paper. That is how deeply etched this is. I'm just going to grab some regular snail adhesive for this and just put a little bit on at the top and see how I can sneak that up under there, which should be pretty easy now that it's ripped. Okay, someone's sitting pretty for me. Bella, I love you. I have drilling going on in the background and a begging dog too. So I snip that off just a little bit because it wasn't going to fit all the way up there. So I'm going to slip her right about there. And believe it or not, it's even. That's not doing me any favors right now. So I think what I'm going to do is just grab a little bit of some multi-matte medium, grab a little paintbrush and pick it up like that. Oh, someone's really frustrated. And paint that on the back so it does stay down. Okay. I'm going to pause right here because she's at the door barking and we all know what that means. Okay, I did not record everything. What happened was when I was putting my banner on here, half my bottle, brand new bottle of multi-matte medium, kind of squirted out on my desk. My craft mat. I think that there was, well, I'm sure that there was a bubble in there. So I thought I would go ahead and do my inside panel first, and then instead of wasting this, go ahead and pop it on the back. I've never used multi-matte medium on the back of a panel when I'm heat embossing it, so we're going to see how this goes. This again comes from Lighthearted Leaves. I stamped my sentiment early espresso, and then I did this long branch or whatever in mint macaroon. I'm just going to say macaroon. And I'm going to go ahead and zap this with my heat tool very fast. I'm going to grab one of my inside panels, lay it right there, and then just a paintbrush. And I really wanted to work fast before this dried because it dries quick. And I'm just going to paint this on. It also dries it dries clear, which is fabulous. Now remember, this does dry matte, even though you'll see it on the outside. But I do want to get that down. Okay, what I'm going to do, yeah, it just comes right off. I'm going to flip this over like that, and I already have my adhesive on the back, as you can see. And I'm going to grab a brayer and just get this thing down. And it worked. And like I said, this stuff isn't going anywhere. Now we're going to go ahead and get back to the front of our card. And we're going to put this up on some foam adhesive. As you can see, I have quite the mess back here. And this is where that other glob of multi-matte medium is going to come in. And I have to get this on there quick. I'm just going to glob it on glue dots. I don't have too much luck with unfortunately, the Stampin' Up! Glue. It works for little tiny pieces, but for something like this, I don't. Make sure I don't have any glue on my work surface. I'm going to bring this back in, pop it like right about there, and I honestly regret using that crumb cake color, to tell you the truth. And if I go over it with a marker, that might make a difference. The in color. So up here you can't really see too much what I've done with the crumb cake. So this is going to be my guinea pig. I think the crumb cake can stand on its own, and that's something I didn't think of when I added this twine. So here goes. It covers it up good enough for me. I'm not going to say I'm super crazy over it, but I'm also not going to do this entire leaf again either. I like it better. Let's put it that way. And I don't mind that stem hanging up like that. It's okay. I love that little detail down there at the bottom. So basically, I think that's the front of our card, to be honest with you. If you want to go ahead and do the inside with me and stick around, that would be great because it's super easy to do. We have our base already done. So I'm just going to go ahead and open that up. This stay down perfectly. I'm going to go ahead and pull off that adhesive that I have. On the back. Get this down and then you are good to go. I think that this is just a really classy, elegant color combination. And we're not done with the front. We have to bling it up just a little bit. It needs a little something. And I know what that is because I got it out on my desk. I'm going to go ahead and use some pearls on here. So that is how our card looks for the midweek inspiration. I hope that you enjoyed it and I didn't jabber on too long. I ran into a lot of things I wasn't expecting and did things that I really shouldn't have that I do like. So ladies and gentlemen, that is it for our card today. For the Paper Craft Crew card sketch, go ahead and hashtag us PCC CS170, and we would love to see what you can do with this sketch. So I thank you for joining me today. I hope that you enjoyed the video, and I will see you next week for another Paper Card Crew sketch. God bless you and have a great day. Bye.